Hello, people of YouTube land, and those that are part of the Cringe Crew community gaming Discord, and those that follow Ted and I on Twitch, and also those that are listening to this on Spotify or wherever we decide to post this podcast on. I am Traductus.
And I'm Ted.
And this is the CCG movie review podcast where we take a director's filmography and review it. At least that's what we are kind of been doing so far. We might change that up, especially since we're going through Tarantino, and after going through Kubrick, then Tarantino, we kind of found out that there's a little bit of issues.
And all of our favorite directors are shit!
At least watch them back to back. But anyway, we were reviewing Death Proof, and spoiler alert.
Yeah, this is the worst. This movie sucks.
Spoiler. We usually do rankings last, but this one's dead last. It's not even close.
That's not even close.
We will do likes and dislikes. I will definitely have more likes than Ted.
Any of them puts you infinitely ahead of me.
But that being said, we do have to go through background, and then Ted will describe the plot. So anyway, Death Proof, released in 2007, obviously written and directed by Tarantino, and also the first time that Tarantino is credited as a cinematographer. This was released originally as a double feature with Planet Terror under the Grindhouse film. And that also includes like different trailers that are in there, which one of them did spawn a movie, that being Machete. So there's some positives that came from this, is that we got Machete, and Danny Trejo actually, instead of being a bit actor, finally getting, starring roles, even though he's not in this in Death Proof. But Tarantino sure as shit is, because, Tarantino has to put himself in every fucking movie. But anyway, this had a budget of $30 million, had a box office return of $31.1 million.
I'm pissed this profited. I'm genuinely pissed this profited.
I wonder if this profited because of Planet Terror, and it was just like, or if this is just this completely. That being said, this does get kind of lukewarm reviews. Most people complain about stuff is going to be complaining about the stuff that we're complaining about, which is funny. And even Tarantino himself considers this his worst movie. That being said, we have the cast. We have Kurt Russell as stuntman Mike McKay. Other people that were considered for the role of this were John Travolta, Denzel Washington, William Dafoe, Mickey Rourke, Bruce Willis, Sylvester Stallone. The hilarious pick on this is Kal Penn. Why? And the two that we think could have been a better pick over Kurt Russell, not that Kurt Russell does a bad job or not, but the other two picks that it could have been were John Malkovich and Ron Perlman.
Malkovich would have been funny as hell. Not good, but funny as hell. Ron Perlman would have fucking aced this. I'm also mad, this casting pisses me off twice. Once because we didn't get Ron Perlman, and once because nowhere in that list was Jack Nicholson. This was the perfect crazy role for this man, and they're just like, nah, but what if Kurt Russell and not Ron Perlman? They fucked up so hard. This was a massive fumble.
Now, the reason Kurt Russell ends up getting the job, Tarantino said He goes, for people my generation, he's a hero, but now there's a whole audience out there that doesn't know what Kurt Russell can do. When I open the newspaper, I see an ad that says Kurt Russell in Dreamer or Kurt Russell in Miracle. I'm not disparaging these movies, but thinking, when is Kurt Russell going to be a badass again? Also, Rose McGowan is in this playing Pam, one of the women that stuntman Mike targets, and she gets this because she was in Planet Terror, and Eli Roth was also in Planet Terror, and both appear in this. And Roth actually even flew in from Europe while he was filming Hostel 2 to film his scenes, which took exactly 1 day. Also, we have Zoe Bell, who is a stunt woman who plays a fictional version of herself. She gets casted in this because she worked as Uma Thurman's stunt double in Kill Bill, and Tarantino wrote her as in a leading female role. And this was her first on-screen acting where she wasn't just a stunt person. And she thought it was going to be a character role until she saw her name was featured on the movie posters opposite of Kurt Russell and Rosario Dawson and Rose McGowan. When she so imagine that. Tarantino also specified that he wanted to have as many practical effects in this because he was to him, he didn't think that CGI for car stunts really like made sense for him because they weren't really that impressive as like he actually said, he goes, to me, the last terrific car chase at the time was Terminator 2, and also Final Destination 2 had a magnificent car action piece. He says, but between that, there was not a lot. And the name of the title, Death Proof, comes from the fact that Tarantino was fascinated with how like stunt people would in the 70s in these like car grindhouse films that they would death proof their cars. And then Robert Rodriguez says, well, you have to call the movie Death Proof, because he said that like he thought that was like a great title. Other people that are in this, we also have Rosario Dawson as Abernathy Ross, Vanessa Ferlito as Arlene / Butterfly. We have Academy Award winning actor daughter. This is the daughter of Sidney Poitier, but she is credited as Sidney Poitier in this. Her professional name is Sidney Tamia Poitier, and she plays Jungle Julia Lukai. We also have Tracy Toms as Kim Mathis, who's badass in this. Jordan Ladd as Shauna. Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Lee Montgomery. Like I said before, Eli Roth as Dove. Marcy Harnell as Marcy. We also have Jonathan Longrim again as Jasper. Of course, Tarantino taking this Adam Sandler actor and making him creepy. And making their return of the same characters, we have Michael Parks as Texas Ranger Earl McGraw and James Parks as Ranger Edgar McGraw, both of which have a role that is basically fucking useless. And there's a couple other people that have like bit stuff, like Omar Doom as Nate, whoever the hell that is. Monica Staggs as Lana Frank. She's also one of the Stuntman Mike's victims, and Marley Sheldon as Dr. Dakota Block. Oh, the nurse. Okay. And that being said, we're going to go into plot and then likes and dislikes.
All right. So the plot of this movie, Kurt Russell drives a car real fast and kills women. Like that's it.
This is Tarantino trying to make like a carsploitation movie and a slasher film, and combined with
Nailed it.
Yeah.
It's a shitty take on a slasher that Tarantino can't get out of his own fucking way.
That being said, we'll go into likes and dislikes. What are we doing first?
The dislikes are going to take longer, so let's just run likes.
Okay.
My list is pretty short, honestly. I casting was solid. I think the people that were cast to play the roles did fine. I'm still pissed off we didn't get Ron fucking Perlman, but it is what
Kurt
it is.
Russell's pretty damn good.
Right,
though.
Kurt Russell does fine in his role. Like, all of the targets are victims. Like, they do fine, right? It's a pretty good cast for the most part. I still hate the idea that Tarantino cast himself in his own movie. Like, whatever. And it makes a pretty fun drinking game if you're just drinking every time Tarantino is aggressively himself. But beyond that, that's my whole ass list, dude.
For me, I know Ted probably doesn't agree with this because he said it was kind of distracting and made the film kind of look a little shitty. I do like the film grain effects and also the homage to like some of the 70s stuff. Some of the camera work's pretty good. I also do like a lot of the stunts and especially the gore effects. Other than acting and other than that, there's not much else to really say. And now it comes into dislikes because there's one major fucking dislike, and it's what makes this movie shitty. And we're gonna have Ted take it away.
All right. Well,
and I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy this beer.
I just want to correct you at first. The film grain fucking sucks. There's no benefit to it. If it was like an old Wild West movie, right? Maybe I could understand it. There's no fucking purpose. It's a modern day movie. It fuck right off. The changes in the film from randomly being black and white to randomly being sepia, randomly back to full color. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I remembered it being film grain through the entire way, which I thought would have been cool, but then it turns into black and white, and then it's like regular, like, modern, like, cinematography, and it's just like...
And it's such aggressive shifts. Like, he makes sure to make a very hard snap where you're watching something that's still so that you know he switched camera. Fuck right off. This also, like, horrifically objectifies women, especially in the first half. It's very clear that even the women speaking to each other are objectifying each other in a way that I found very strange for then Tarantino to join his own movie and also partake. I shouldn't say I find it strange because that feels like exactly a Tarantino thing to do, but fuck, man. Like,
oddly enough, Tarantino's like the only like male character in this that's not a chauvinistic, creepy asshole.
No, and he still manages to be the fucking weirdest dude on screen. The big gripe that Stallman wants me to take away. While the action in this movie was decent, this is a 2-hour film and an hour and a half of it is exposition to get to the 20 minutes of action, right? Slashers are fun, not because they tell you a story, but because you get to watch some psychopath murder a bunch of teenagers, right? Like, that's hilariously fun. When I need the backstory of what old television shows he worked on in a bar and what radio show these girls are doing and who intends to sexually assault them at a fucking vacation house where the fuck ever. It doesn't goddamn matter for the fact that, like, this is just this is a whole long build up to Kurt Russell is going to chase this car around for 20 minutes in his fast car. It's so
And then in the second half,
worthless.
he like gives exposition to justify why Zoe's able to, survive like being flung off of a car with barely little, injuries. He could have just said like, yeah, Kurt Russell targets like fairly famous people, and it's like, yeah, it's like the two women that he's going after are stunt women, and it's like, it's like you could have just said that within like a minute dialogue.
You don't even need to make them stunt people. It can just be an action-filled slasher. Like, you don't need to put this much work into 20. Like, this genuinely could have been an episode of TV. What was the old like Boomerang cartoon that was like the death race with all the cartoons?
Wacky Races.
Yes, this was just Wacky Races with an hour and a half of shitty fucking build-up. Like, This could like, you could have taken the decent parts of this movie and had a shorter Wacky Races episode just without cartoons with Kurt Russell instead. Like, it's the exact same fucking shit, dude. There's so much worthless fucking garbage in this movie. And
I mean, to be honest, like without all that, this definitely could have been like a Twilight Zone episode, or like a as opposed to.
Well, and the worst part of the whole thing, right, is that like for all of the exposition he gives, the movie ends on like four plot holes. You know that Kurt Russell dies, but you have no idea what happened to their friend. You have no idea how the movie goes. You have no idea how they return the fucking car, or who calls the police, or what the fuck. Right? There's like so many just open fucking pieces, but they're just like, well, if we jump in the air and cheer, everything's done now, right? Like, no, fuck
what pisses
off.
me off is that they just beat the shit out of. They beat him to death, but it's like they just fast-pacedly with stupid jump cuts beat the shit out of him, and then Rosario Dawson like steps on his head, and it's like, if you're gonna make a fucking car movie and stuff like that, you know what happens in a lot of like car chase movies and like within this entire fucking thing? The car blows up. Why couldn't they just Mad Maxed it where, he's like lying in the car, it's all mangled, he's trapped in his death-proof car, and they light the fucking car on fire and it blows up. That would have been a good payoff, as opposed to like, kick the shit out of him. Yay! The end.
Look, you get to see Rosario Dawson throw a few mean left hooks, so I'm not that upset about that in particular, right? But like, I guess the idea is like, if you're trying to give a slasher an exposition, right? Like a full storytelling thing.
Right.
You should probably sum up any of the story other than Kurt Russell dies.
Right?
Like, it's just, man.
And even then, slashers are supposed to sequel bait.
It's just like there's just so many questionable decisions. Like how a room full of people watched this and didn't decide that their $30 million wasn't fucking worth it, right? Like, hey, we know we spent a lot of money on this. No one needs to see this. Like, everyone with eyes suffers for this movie existing. It's just terrible. If you decide to take a slasher and make it a story, give it a story instead of, we gave you an hour and a half of build-up because we needed to fill the 2-hour window. If you're going to make it a slasher and you don't worry about the story, then just show us another scene of slashing. Not fucking, do you guys know these old television shows I was a stuntman on? Fuck off, dude.
That, like, they set up, like, the sheriff, going like, well, it's like, I'm not investigating it now because, like, I don't really have, like, enough evidence to, like, convict the dude of anything, but, like, I'll guarantee you that he's not doing it again in this state of Texas. And it's like, you could have had them two facing off. Like, it builds up to, like, that's going to lead to it. Does that happen? No, it just gets thrown out of the fucking rug.
Right. It's like,
no, he just goes to a different state now.
You said it, they introduced the doctor and the cops and whatever else to make a whole big fucking thing of it, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, just to show how he got away with the beginning part. And it's like,
all right, but the beginning part was it was a fucking hour and 10 minutes. And so much of that was worthless. Like, they weren't setting up to anything. They were just, it genuinely felt like Tarantino was handed 2 hours, and they're like, here's 8 minutes of material, make this 2 hours, good luck.
And on top of that, like, I know Ted disagreed with me, like, he's okay with, like, the 2 parts, it's just the fucking exposition in between there sucks, but, like, to me, it's like, if you would have stuck with, like, the first part and had one of them survive and him chasing after them one by one or something like that in the car, like, you could have done a movie like that. Right. Or had the second part, with him just, like, stalking and killing people along the way while stalking, like, these women, and when he finally gets to those women, and then they finally, give him his comeuppance.
Right.
But,
and even then, right, like, I don't think the storytelling is that egregious if you take either one of the two halves and make it a movie, right? Because then you are genuinely telling how this one guy chased down this one group of people, and it's one story, right? Like, to cut it into 2 halves makes the exposition portion worthless. Like, so compare this to Scream, right? You get introduced to some actors, you get the exposition at the beginning to show that he's a psychopath, right? It's 7 fucking minutes of pre-title sequence, right? And it's fine. Yeah. It doesn't matter that you never see any of those fucking characters again. Like, it establishes, hey, he's gonna kill people indiscriminately for fun, right?
I mean, fuck. The beginning part where that beginning crash, that could have been, like, the pre-part of, like, they could have had that starting out with, like, him in the freaking bar, just being kind of creepy, and then him killing them, and then that would be the beginning part, and then just had the exposition of him leading up to like the other girls.
Right, but instead there's a half an hour bar scene to establish two people at the bar being creeps. They're establishing the bar scene so that they can objectify this woman both as all you have to do is beg really nicely and I'll make out with you in your car, and then I'll give some other dude a lap dance when I'm hammered. And then there's the what beer they're drinking or what shots make the women most like willing to sleep with you or whatever. Like it's an hour and 10 minutes of absolute worthless backstory that doesn't contribute anything to the story. And then the payoff is just like, yeah, this guy chases down his victims and then they kill him. I'm telling you, this is 9 fucking minutes of material and 2 hours of bullshit. It's awful. It's awful.
Like, I kind of dread going to watch Hateful Eight because I always said that was like the worst one, because to me it was like a long fucking movie with like nothing, you know? But
oh, God.
I have a feeling that I might have been a little bit too hard on Hateful Eight, which we haven't really gotten to yet. So I'm kind of hoping it's not worse than this.
Man,
you know?
I think that's a good time to. Rather than continuing the rant on the exact same point, if you have no other dislikes, we should throw this to rankings and get the fuck out of here.
I mean, we already ranked as dead fucking last.
Yeah.
This is like Spartacus for
God.
Tarantino.
Yeah, this was unequivocally terrible. I am upset we chose Tarantino just because I had to watch this.
But that being said, this is still better than Kubrick's worst movies, and so with Kubrick saying like, you know, with my worst movie so far being Death Proof, it's not a bad track record. It's like, it's not, but at the same time, why?
This shouldn't have been made. Anyway, as always, thank you guys for watching. If you watch these to keep up with us, I'm sorry you had to watch this movie too and suffer because you also have eyes.
And we're sorry that we don't have much more to really say, but we weren't really given a whole lot.
It's just fucking terrible. As always,
let me finish my goddamn beer.
As always, you can watch the movies with us in the Discord on Mondays. You can catch the link to that in the description of the video below. If you're interested in our personal content, you can also check us both out on Twitch. Stallman at Traductus, myself at Ted Green Eagles. That's pretty easy, man. I think we're just gonna wrap it up with that. Thank you guys for watching. See you here next week.
Next one's gonna be a good movie, Inglourious Bastards.
Can't be worse than this. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Adios.